This is Battlefield 2042. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. This is the most recent entry in the long-running Battlefield series, and one that really did some long-term damage to the franchise and to the IP. Kind of left Battlefield in a very bad situation. And hopefully someday they will be able to recover once again, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, with that being said, they have actually done a lot of improvements, a lot of upgrades, and a lot of touch-ups in regards to making this experience a lot better. They've added a plethora of unique maps, content, and ways to engage with the experience, and they've also done things such as like adjusting how classes work and adjusting how the operator system that they added into this works, and just generally fixing the bugs, improving the experience, and getting Battlefield into a situation that the fans kind of desired and or really deserved when it comes to Battlefield. I thought this had the biggest potential in the world for being an incredible Battlefield experience. You know, it had the scale, it had the player counts, it had the action, it had the setting, and ultimately, it just kind of fell flat and didn't really fully deliver. But hey, it's a lot better now. Seriously, they've added some really great level setups, more traditional Battlefield action, and they've completely gutted the 128 players, basically, which to me is a bit of a shame, because I thought the whole point of this was the fact that we were getting true next-gen, well now current-gen, Battlefield action with like large player counts, but they're like, oh, we just can't develop for that big of a player count. I don't know why. I think they're just bad at their jobs, but anyways, they've gone and switched that up, and they're focusing on more traditional Battlefield gameplay, which is 64-player lobby setups and maps. And you know what? It is a lot better because the gameplay and the action's a lot tighter. But I just think like there's no reason they couldn't have scaled this for 128 players properly. It's just kind of funny that they provided these large land masses with like no cover, nothing going on in them, which they've done huge revitalization efforts on. Like literally every base map that came with this game, they added cover, they've revamped the level layouts and the setups, and they did add a lot of improvements from that perspective, like literally making them kind of playable maps. And it's just weird that they couldn't cater to larger player counts. I don't know, it's kind of weird. So you're probably wondering what we're getting here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. It's a 4K resolution, 60 FPS, HDR support, and we should be getting that basically just maxed out at this point in terms of like overhead and making sure everything's kind of smooth running and clean. I mean, it ran fine and whatnot on the base PlayStation 5, so you know, to some degree it would be negligible improvements, but if there ever were drops or any sort of like resolution scaling that really impacted things negatively, it's looking very, very clean and very, very sharp here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And it never hurts to have an excuse to come in and play some more Battlefield, as I know so many people are big fans of this franchise, like myself. Quite a big Battlefield fan. Just a bit of a shame that this one didn't really hit off like traditional Battlefield experiences. Kind of hoping for a spawn here on Jabberwocky, but not really looking like it's happening. Yeah, our team is really struggling to kind of break through here. Stand by for Clippy Fall. Yeah, it's just kind of our team is completely struggling to push this objective forward. So I will definitely give props to the team for actually, you know, improving this experience. I do want to mention though that the Canadian level, that looks nothing like the Canadian Rockies. Just want to get it like set in here fourth so people know that. But you know, Battlefield is very interesting to see how this one's kind of been reacted to, and I would say in general there's a lot more of a positive attitude about this experience now, and it is something you can actually have some fun diving into the multiplayer of and enjoying. So pretty easy to recommend that you take a look at Battlefield 2042 at this point, as you're getting a relatively solid Battlefield experience. I mean, they can't fix everything, they can't fix the reception and, you know, everything like that, but it's actually gotten a good rotation of levels and setups and scenarios. So, wow, we actually lost. Our team was really genuinely bad there, I guess. Next map, I guess. Alright, we've got ourselves another level. The Panama Canal or whatever, which is, I think, an awful map if you're not playing it on specific game modes, but yeah, anyways, the main setup of Battlefield 2042 is essentially playing either Conquest, which is large-scale objective capture, across the map, basically like large-scale domination, if you've played, you know, Call of Duty and other shooter games like Call of Duty and stuff. But on a large scale, with lots of... Well, that was another problem too with 2042, was the lack of vehicles that people were able to use, but you get my point. And then there's Breakthrough, which is what I typically like playing, where you are pushing objectives and trying to capture plots of land and territory using your squad and your team in large-scale gameplay combat. That was a bad guy there in the middle of everybody. Wow, straight up stabbing up our dude. Wow, that's rough. I'm alive! So yeah, all-out warfare on a very, very large, expansive, and combative scale, which is exciting. This game also had the PlayStation Portal, which I had the biggest hopes in the world for, and tragically, due to the reception of this game, the Portal was completely forgotten about and overlooked, which I think is the biggest shame of 2042 entirely, with what was received and how people have thought about the game over time. Was Portal getting entirely overlooked? And I don't know if other people care about Portal at this point, but the idea of Portal was that you would have this backbone of Battlefield, where they were basically like remastering and bringing back traditional Battlefield levels and modes and game types, and allowing the community to remix them with like custom lobbies and setups and scenarios to have fun matches. And yeah, it just didn't really pan out in the way that it should have. They never added any new content to it. And that's a shame, because you had like literally nostalgic OG like Battlefield levels. Things from like Bad Company and, you know, Battlefield 3, and then yeah, it was basically just tossed aside. And that is, to me, like, again, the biggest shame, because I thought that content was really great, especially if you were a fan of older traditional Battlefield games. That was your old school gameplay. It allowed you to enjoy really beautifully touched up levels and maps with that old school style and flair, but in the modern context of a new Battlefield game. And I thought that could be something that, as they do future Battlefield games, it could have been like a little bit of a backbone thing that was supported in the long term, and, you know, could have kept getting new, well, old maps redone, and, you know, it could have had a lot of little fun game mode variants and stuff. And it's still, I don't think there's too many people playing that anymore. If there is, there's like minimal lobbies, and it's just a bit of a shame, because I do think that really is a cool part of the game. It's great, like playing on literally like classic Battlefield levels, and they look better than they ever did. And yeah, kind of a bit of a shame how that all turned out for that mode. So the Portal, a little, to me, it's devastating how the Portal was treated, but you know, it is what it is. And if you're just hearing about it now, you should check it out if there's still like lobbies and stuff people have going for it, because yeah, all the potential in the world for that one, and just kind of Left 4 Deaded, as to say. But yeah, a bit of a shame there. And then that basically makes up this game. It's sort of a bit of a three-way kind of split gameplay-wise, and those are your options for how you experience it. No campaign, no single-player stuff. It's just entirely a multiplayer game. It's probably going to be one of those Battlefields that I would imagine long-term wise will be completely forgotten. Oh wow, this is terrible. Like, this map is just awful. This is one of the additional maps they added, and I'm sorry if people like this Panama map, but it is genuinely terrible to to fight through. Yeah, especially when you get like on the boat and stuff too. Not a great time. Not a great time to be had. I was kind of hoping I would be getting that guy. Anyways, I do think they have improved this a lot. There is a wealth of content here in terms of maps and ways you interact with the experience. If this looks like the type of action that you enjoy and want to play, you know, it's not bad, honestly. Like, the core gameplay of Battlefield is here. It's just some of the stuff around it isn't the best executed here. And it's totally fair how people had, like, problems and stuff like that. And, you know, there the bugs, and there was, like, all the crashing and stuff like that. But, hey, you know, they've taken time. They've done seasonal content. They've done limited time events. They've improved things. It's kind of basically, I would say, from a quality level in terms of, hey, you know, it's running well, bugs are fixed, gameplay's adjusted to feel like more proper Battlefield. From that point of view, yeah, this is at the point it should have been at launch. And then content, great amount of content. No support for legacy stuff, which is a crying shame to me, but, you know, I think for the most part, people can really enjoy this now. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can engage with it in different ways. You can do your breakthrough, you can do your conquest. Lots of different vehicles, lots of different combat setups, get your squads going, play with your pals, enjoy crossplay. Some of the larger fill lobbies, you're probably going to have bots filling in. Like, crossplay is very much recommended for this game. Just because of, like, a player count perspective. But, you know, people always have varying perspectives on that too, so I'll leave that up to the individual to think about. But I think it's a very clean, well-running, and great-looking game here on the Pro. Which is kind of what you would expect. Medics, you suck. I mean, people are getting healed left, right, and center. It's like, what more does this guy want from me? I'm giving it my all out here. The text chat is kind of funny. My favorite thing was, like, the text chat, just, like, people just hating on the game at launch. And then I was just like, if you hate it that much, it's like, why are you guys playing it? It's so weird. that was my question. You'd be, like, matches, I'd be, like, streaming this, and I'd be, like, everybody just be trashing it in the chat. And I was like, there's lots of other shooter games you can go play. I was like, it's really weird. There's especially, like, older Battlefield games, too. Like, there's a lot of older Battlefield games that still have, like, active communities that you can enjoy. I'm switching lobbies. This is stupid. Alright, well, the other match was just a loss, so I thought we might as well switch to this other map where it's also going to be a loss, but at least we can show off a different level and scenario in Conquest with 128 players. So this is the IKEA map that they made, where you get to go to the 3D printing factories of the future, where they are fighting global warming and trying to get the IKEA Yakoya table out the door, aka just a coffee table, with a fancy IKEA name. Because that's IKEA living. But anyways, yeah, I thought we would mix it up a bit and show off a different scenario where it might be a little bit better for how things are going. Anyways, the biggest takeaway here, though, really, is that this experience is a lot better now. You can enjoy your large-scale Battlefield action and combat across massive setups, featuring tons of players battling, shooting, and blasting each other. It's more like proper Battlefield gameplay. Oh, come on, what are the odds you're out in the middle of nowhere? And, you know, you got the full crossplay, you got the full feature sets, you got the full visual style, you got the flair. This is a Battlefield you should be a lot happier with if you are more of a traditional Battlefield fan. And I know there's some things that will be big sticking points that, you know, the hardcore fans will literally never accept from this game. And, you know, that is what it is. Hopefully the next Battlefield hits for people a little bit harder than that, and I'm actually really looking forward to eventually covering that Battlefield when the time comes. But for now, 2042 is a fairly fine experience, honestly. It's not too bad. It's visually quite great. Like, I think this looks fantastic here on the Pro. It looks fantastic on the base PS5 as well, not knocking that console, and, you know, Series X too. Series S, you know. but yeah, this is definitely a worthy Battlefield experience if you've been waiting to try it out again, or try it out for the first time, and you've stumbled across this video, and you're like, oh, Battlefield 2042. Is now the time? And I'd say, yes, now is the time to actually give it a whirl and see if you like it. Because I think there is a lot to like here, and the maps are a lot better in terms of design and scope and style. Like, honestly, some of the levels are really cool, and they give you this great sense of scale. especially the fixes to the regular levels. Those just like a 9-day difference. Because I think that was the big problem. Is the rumors for this were that basically this was a battle royale battlefield that they kind of like quickly and lazily slapped into a traditional Battlefield experience, and that's why so much of the launch maps are very open and vast and empty, is because they were meant for Battle Royale. And they were like, okay, we'll just pivot and make it a full Battlefield game. And then them adding actual cover to those maps made a massive world of difference. Like, literally carving out parts of levels and adding cover or putting actual cover in. You can kind of be like, oh, well, this is what it should have been at the launch. It's like, where was all this, protection and stuff like that? And I think that was a big problem for this game, honestly, was just, like, the bad level design issues. Among other problems and bugs and crashes and all that, but I do believe a big fundamental issue was just how you moved around the maps and how you battled one another. Because it is Battlefield. You're supposed to be feeling a great sense of combat and scale of combat, especially when you're competing and fighting others, and then when it doesn't like really flow or functionally perform in a way that you expect it to, that is a major problem in my opinion for a Battlefield game. And it also killed the large-scale multiplayer, which to me was so exciting, was having that absolutely massive sense of players battling each other like we have here. That to me felt very next-gen, was having large-scale warfare. And I still think it could work really well for Battlefield as having a lot of players on a battlefield, but I don't think they're going to embrace that again anytime soon, just because this game scared them so much about it. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to scale 64 players into a scenario where it's doubling that player count, and just, you just have to scale your maps accordingly. I will definitely fight to the death about that particular situation and setup. It can work. They just lacked the effort and the talent to actually get that done for this game, and that was a major problem. Seriously. I guess there's also the sense that people are like, oh, there's too many players shooting at me, you die, blah blah blah. But it's like, that is large-scale warfare, and it's up to you to kind of like make the difference in it. Tools and weapons and tanks and vehicles. Like, this is way better too, right? Actually having a map carved out where you're moving through it in ways that like make sense. Defeat, well, I joined in progress. I had originally visioned just sitting here and kind of playing a singular match to get the footage I needed for this PS5 Pro review of this game. What are the odds that I'd get so many lobbies like this? What are the odds? It's like Bad Luck Central trying to do 2042, am I right? But hey, at least you get to see a variety of different environments. This map's kind of funny too, because essentially, like, for Breakthrough, they just totally got, like, half the map. Kind of funny. Anyways, lots of improvements, lots of adjustments. It's probably something that I think most could enjoy, especially if you like traditional Battlefield stuff. It doesn't hurt to jump in and give it a try and see if you like it at this current point in time, because I think they've done enough to kind of, earn at least some tries from the hardcore Battlefield players, and if not, it is what it is when it comes to this game. But I don't know, it's pretty fine, solid, pretty great Battlefield game at this point in time. It's just took a long time to get here, and it's a shame that it didn't carry through as strong as it really should have and it really needed to. And it should be interesting to see if for that next attempt at Battlefield, if they can, fix things and get stuff running smoother. And I'm sure we'll see another one where it's like modern slash slightly futuristic again. Oh, it's just mayhem at the moment. Things are just not working well for this combat for me today. I was off to a good start, and then you die a bunch. It is what it is. It's hard being on the defensive, what can I say, and breakthrough. But hopefully you can break through and enjoy the 2042 action at this point in time. Otherwise, if at this point, I mean, they're not really adding anything else, I don't think you'll ever fully get behind this one if you don't enjoy what it has to offer, you know, at this point in time.